Om Sri Maha Periyava Saranam. When a family is blessed by Periyava's compassionate glances, no matter what dire situations the family is going through, they will receive Periyava's guidance and protection, and their entire generation will be protected by Maha Periyava. This is the divine experience of a poor youth from Bombay. His father worked in a small private firm and his salary was very meager. But with his meager salary, he educated his son and daughter and managed his family expenses. Suddenly, the father suffered a heart attack and passed away. His son, who was studying in PUC, had to discontinue his studies to take over the family responsibilities. He could not get a good job. Occasionally, he earned money by doing odd jobs. His mother also earned some money by helping their neighbors. Their income was temporary since they did not have permanent jobs. It was a very difficult situation, but the young man educated his sister and their mother managed the family with great difficulty. Though they were financially poor, they were raised with the wealth of character. They had a calm disposition, they were disciplined, devoted, honest, and respected elders. After 5 years, their mother passed away on account of an illness. The family experienced a lot of mental stress and struggled financially after their mother's demise. Their mother had managed to provide food for the family for at least 5 days in a week with her meager income. After her demise, they could not afford to eat even 3 times in a week. In this miserable situation, the young man's sister decided to do household chores to support the family. But her brother, who was 7 years elder to her, was disturbed since he had dreamt of his sister's graduation and a good employment for her. He felt it was his responsibility to take care of his sister after his father's demise. As he was very affectionate towards his sister, he became very emotional upon hearing her decision. He had wanted his sister to be happy and was not bothered about himself. What is the use of having great dreams and experiences when we are not blessed with the opportunities? He had to accept her decision since they needed income for their family. They underwent great suffering for 3 months. Then the young man remembered that their relative lived in Tirunelveli. He decided to approach them for help. He dreamt that he could get a good job with their reference and he could settle down in Tirunelveli along with his sister. He sent a letter to his relative about their situation. With great difficulty, he collected the amount needed for the journey and left to Tirunelveli. His sister waited for him in Bombay. When he reached their relative's house in Tirunelveli, he was shocked to find that their house was locked. When he inquired the neighbors, all of them replied that they had gone out of station and had not mentioned about their date of return. Since they were very close relatives, the young man had come with great belief and expectations. He had a very small amount of money and was doubtful whether he could afford to return to Bombay. He did not know anyone else in Tirunelveli. He was very tired and slept in the front portion of a house, hoping his relative would return the next day. Next day he woke up, took bath, ate very little food and waited for his relative. But the relative did not return. The following day, when the sun rose, a new beginning dawned in the young man's life as well. The relative did not return, and the young man became doubtful that his relative could have left after receiving his letter. The young man did not know what to do. The Agraharam members had decided to visit Maha Periyava, who had camped at Tirunelveli, and the young man also desired for Periyava's darshan. He went to Periyava's camp. There was a huge crowd and he waited patiently for Periyava's darshan. Suddenly a person came and asked the young man, "Have you come for Periyava's darshan? Come." He held his hand and left him in front of Maha Periyava. The young man prostrated to Periyava. Periyava was aware of all his worries and his good character. Periyava inquired, "Where are you coming from?" The young man answered, "I am coming from Bombay." Periyava correctly mentioned his father's name and without allowing the young man to speak, Periyava continued, I know your father and grandfather who visited the mutt. After your parents' demise, what have you been doing? The young man answered, I don't have any job, Periyava. Periyava inquired, Is there anybody else in your family? The young man answered, I have a younger sister, Periyava. What is she doing? Questioned Periyava. The youth answered with tears in his eyes. She is doing household chores after studying in 10th standard. Periyava remained silent and spoke after some time. The person for whom you came in search of has gone out of station after receiving your letter. You need not wait here with belief and expectations. You can return home without any worry. But the young man remained silent. Periyava inquired, Who brought him to the camp? A person replied, Periyava, you had instructed me to bring him in front of you. Periyava asked, Did I? Okay, you cook and serve food to this young man and buy a ticket for his return journey to Bombay. The person felt blessed to have the opportunity of helping the young man. The young man prostrated to Periyava and received his blessings. The sweet memories of his meeting with Maha Periyava accompanied him throughout his long journey. At Bombay railway station, the ticket examiner at the entrance asked the young man for his ticket. The young man searched in his shirt pocket, pant pocket, and cloth bag, but he could not find it. He had lost his ticket. The examiner asked him to stay back. The young man was confused. He had shown the ticket to 2 examiners in the train. He searched repeatedly, thinking only about Maha Periyava. He wondered whether he could pay the penalty since he had only a small amount of money left with him. After completing his work, the ticket examiner asked him, Why are you standing here? The young man replied, Sir, you had asked me to wait here since I did not have my ticket. The ticket examiner sensed that he was a Tamilian and said, No, I had asked you to wait for some other reason. The youth replied, No, you had asked me to wait here since I had lost my ticket. The examiner did not accept his statement. It was an argument conducted by the grace of Maha Periyava to showcase the innocence and honesty of the young man to the examiner. When Periyava undertakes some work, he will not leave that place until the work is completed. All of them were dolls performing according to the will of Maha Periyava. The examiner asked the young man to accompany him to his office room. He inquired, Where are you coming from? The young man thought to himself, Without imposing a penalty for not possessing the ticket, why is he inquiring about me? But he considered the elderly examiner as his father and explained patiently about his journey to Tirunelveli, absence of his relative, his mental state of confusion, and his darshan of Maha Periyava. The examiner asked eagerly, Did you see Maha Periyava, the great Mahan? The examiner raised both his hands above his head and performed namaskar as a gesture of respect to Maha Periyava. The curious examiner further inquired about the young man and his family. When the young man told his story, the examiner was touched by his honesty and humility. The examiner provided his address and asked the young man to come home along with his sister. The young man could not believe the happenings and felt grateful to Maha Periyava for his blessings and compassion. Losing his ticket was really a blessing by Maha Periyava. On the same day, the young man reached home, explained everything to his sister, and both of them went to the examiner's house. The examiner and his wife liked the brother and sister at first sight and requested them to stay in their house. The examiner admitted the young man in a college and the girl was admitted in a good school. Since the couple were childless, they cared for the brother and his sister very affectionately and looked after them like their own children. The brother and sister had suffered like orphans and they also reciprocated their affection towards the couple. The couple were moved by the children's discipline, honesty, devotion, and their respect to elders. They thanked Maha Periyava since they had never experienced the love and affection of children. They expressed their heartfelt gratitude to Maha Periyava for blessing them with children who showered love and affection to them in their old age, thereby filling their lives with happiness. After a few months, the couple wholeheartedly made the decision to legally adopt the young man and his sister. Every day the young man thanked Maha Periyava for blessing him with a beautiful life. When they were in a very miserable situation, Periyava had helped them to overcome all their difficulties. Thus the young man worshipped Maha Periyava as his first god. He served the kind examiner and his wife as he would do for his parents, since they had helped and supported them when they were orphaned. Many years passed. The couple got their daughter married to a boy from a good family. The young man was employed in a private firm. Since the couple couldn't find a suitable bride for the young man, they selected a girl from the orphanage with the young man's consent and performed their marriage. As years passed by, the ticket examiner divided his property, which included his ancestral property, into 4 portions, one for his wife, one each for the young man and his sister, and 1 portion for charity. According to his will, the charity amount had to be spent with the consent of all the family members. After some years, the examiner and his wife passed away. They had left a huge property behind, and the young man did not have the confidence to handle the huge property. Maha Periyava had blessed him with a beautiful life, and he decided to seek Periyava's advice regarding the property. In Kanchipuram, he stood in front of Maha Periyava with tears of gratitude, which washed Periyava's feet. His tears conveyed everything to Periyava. Periyava remained silent. The young man controlled his emotions and returned to normal. He conveyed all his doubts to Periyava and said, "I will perform my assigned duties as per your instructions." Periyava replied, "Spend the money for educating poor children and helping elderly people who have no support. Even your left hand should not know the charity given by your right hand. Henceforth, you will dedicate yourself to serve poor children and the elderly." The happy young man received blessings and left to Bombay. He resigned his job and dedicated himself to service as instructed by Maha Periyava. His father and grandfather had received Maha Periyava's grace and blessings. When a family is blessed by Periyava's compassionate glances, no matter what dire situations the family is going through, they will receive Periyava's guidance and protection, and their entire generation will be protected by Maha Periyava. Periyava's grace also depends on the faith and belief of the family members. Periyava had helped the orphan brother and his sister and ensured that they found a loving and supportive family. The childless examiner and his wife were blessed with affectionate and good children to support them in their old age. Periyava had blessed an orphan family, a childless couple, and had further arranged for providing charity to educate the poor children and to help elderly persons. Is this Periyava's kindness or compassion? Periyava blessed the young man, and innumerable families were benefited by this blessing. Periyava showered his grace and blessings in abundance, but he always kept himself hidden from fame. We surrender to the great compassionate sage of Kanchi, Sri Maha Periyava. Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara.